Hi, I'm Kelly at Book and Paper Arts, and boy, is it great to be back in my studio after several weeks in France. In today's video, I am going to be making more pages in my travel sketchbook. Only today I'm not going to be sketching or drawing or painting. I am going to be making fun, easy, messy collage pages with found papers. I love found papers. They are some of my favorite art supplies. They are versatile, they are free, and they're all around you. Whether you're on a journey or whether it's just your everyday life, if you teach yourself to see them, you're going to find papers with cool images, with text, and other things that you can then use to build your own pages and get your memories, your days, your life into your visual diary. If you like journal arts, altered books, if you like vintage books, papers, and ephemera, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notifications, and you will have more of them in your life. Now let's go make pages. When I say found papers, I mean papers and cards that pile up in our lives like weeds. Today, some of the pieces I'm going to be using include sugar packets, receipt, card that came in a shoebox when I bought shoes. This was wrapped around a sketchbook that I bought last week. On-street parking, ticket stub, envelope that I'm going to make into a pocket, free brochure, ticket stub, free brochure, ticket stub, cards from restaurants, boarding pass, negative COVID test, boom, and so on. You get the idea. I'm going to start with this page. Whenever I have a new sketchbook, as this was, I like to do some mark making and drizzling with tea on some of the pages to help me get past some of the intimidation of the blank page. I have a whole video about using tea as an art supply if you would like to see more, and the link to that is in the text below this video. I'm going to add to this very simple page, I'm going to add this teacup. This was in a bag that some pastry came in, and it was already in the shape of a teacup, and I just cut it out. And then also this little medallion that says the meilleur petit déjeuner, which means the best breakfast. And it certainly was. Because this is almost a tissue paper, when I glue this down, it will probably go semi-transparent and you might see some of the tea poking out from underneath. I'm going to go glue that down and see what happens. Okay, this is looking good. Now I'm going to add a box, and I'm using a Derwent watercolor pencil. It doesn't have to be a watercolor pencil. It can be anything you've got. Some ink, crayon, pastel, pencil, whatever makes a good line. I picked this color. It kind of complements the tea and coffee colors. And I'm going to go around now because it is a watercolor pencil. I can activate it with water like this. Pull a little bit of that color down. And when it's activated, it almost becomes a kind of an ink or a watercolor. And now I have a space where I can add my words. This page is going to have a lot more going on than the previous one. I've started out by putting down a background of vintage dictionary pages, but where you are, you could use any kind of text that you've got. It's all going to look good. This is a fragment from another bag that some bread came in. I just rough tore it diagonally to the eye, and I'm going to put it down here to anchor this part of the page. Over here is another fragment of a bag that some food came in, and it looks like grass. So I'm going to put that here and anchor this side of the page. I want to carry these leaves of grass all the way across to make it look like one layout rather than page. And that's going to help pull the eye across. I'm using a soft chalk pastel. And I'm just being messy. I'm going to smudge that a little. And that way it won't bleed as much. Now, I'm going to add a monk reading an old book. He's from a free brochure. And I'm using this because I work a lot in old churches, and I work a lot in old books. So he really spoke to me. And using a glue stick. This is an Uhu or Yoo-hoo glue stick. I love them. For me, they have more slip than most other glue sticks. Although some people disagree. I buy these in bulk. Okay, over here, I'm going to take the sugar packets, and those are going to be made into tree trunks or flower stems. Depends on what you think. I'm going to put those here. And then for tops, I've cut out several sort of foliage looking messy shapes out of some of the papers that I collected. This is from some art supplies, that sketchbook I was showing you. And this is from a business card from the restaurant where I had pizza on my birthday. This is one of those parking, on-street parking, paying ticket thingies. And this is another business card from a restaurant. Now that all of my elements are glued down, I've gone round and outlined all of the focal points with a pen. You can use any pen you have, but I'm using a uni pen with a fine line, and it's a little bit thicker. It's a 0.04, so that's going to give me a little bit more of a line here. I did not add text or words so much as I added some labels. Parking, pizza, and so on. And I'm going to leave that there. This page has enough going on, enough memories, and enough to look at. Over here, I am going to, again, use these pieces from bags that food came wrapped in. I've rough torn them, and I'm just going to make a wild, messy, loud, sparky background thing. To that, I'm going to add this guy. This guy is also from a free brochure. Look at that wig. And he's going to anchor all of that over here. So I have all of these glued into place, going across the page to make it not just page, but one layout. I've added some more of French writing on a food wrapper, and I'm going to add this wine label. And what I've done is I've just tried to, if anything, I've just tried to mix and match my shapes. These are diagonal and rough torn. This is a circle, and then this is a rectangle. So that gives it the eye a lot to look at. It makes your page active and peppy. I'm sorry I said peppy. I don't know why. Now I'm going to bring this all together by taking a color that is similar to the green here and here. I didn't have an exact one, but this will do. It's a Caron Dash water-soluble crayon. Again, use whatever you have. And I'm going to let this bisect some of the lines here. I'm not going to make it perfectly like a frame. And again, now I can activate this with some water like this. And when I'm finished, I will have a place to add some writing that will fit nicely in here. Now let's look at what we have here. I've added my words, just written some things about coffee and coffee-related memories. I added a few rays here to this medallion to make it look a little bit like a sun and just makes the page a little bit more fun and interesting. This is a layout I made off camera, and it's easy. I just took a ton of the scraps that I showed in the first part of this video, and I cut out text or rough tore text, and then I just glued them down wherever they wanted to go. I went round everything with a water-soluble pencil and activated that with water. I pulled the color out a little bit, so now it actually has that peeling wallpaper look that I love. I am not adding a whole lot of storytelling here, just a few captions. This is not a very sexy page, but that's okay. Sometimes they don't gotta be. I did add my COVID test because goodness knows that defines a lot about my traveling these days. And so then I just put some messy black lines around it to make it pop. It will look better when I've got my color and painting added over here. This is from a flyer. I just folded it into quarters and then glued it down. And now I have a tuck spot for my ticket stubs. I am very happy with how this page turned out. I've got so many different memories from just these free found papers. And instead of being in a folder or a drawer somewhere, they're now on the page making up this book. I like this too. This is not my favorite color green, but it is a pretty good page as far as giving me space to write down some of the things that we did. And when I go back and look at this in a few years, or if I have grandchildren someday, they'll be able to read this book and know a little bit more about my trip and what Grandma was like. I have an online course that will teach you how to make your own illustrated journal. And it covers basics like how to prepare your book, more about found paper collage, easy, no-fail, not scary drawing techniques, lettering, blocking pages, and much more. And the link to that course is in the text below this video. So have a look, see what you think. I will be back on Sunday. That's in 2 days. And I'm going to have that long-promised flea market haul show and tell. So please stay tuned for that. Until then, I hope that everyone has a wildly creative weekend.